okay, so the PSR transfer deadline has come, and it's gone. And I'm not really aware of anyone being particularly screwed by it in the way that we were last year when we had to sell 2 very good up-and-coming young prospects to meet PSR. But I guess that was our own foolishness for the way we did business previous years. Aston Villa took a leaf out of the Chelsea playbook and decided to sell their women's team to themselves for 50 million to avoid any PSR problems and making sure they didn't have to sell any of their top players, and that was very smart, so well done to them, because apparently that's a thing now. So maybe Newcastle should just look to acquire assets all over Newcastle and just routinely sell them to themselves in order to get around this PSR nonsense. But it's incredibly frustrating to think how other teams are taking advantage of all these loopholes, and we still aren't doing the basics. We don't have a training ground sponsor, we don't have a stadium sponsor, we don't have training kit sponsors. These are things that other teams have that we could use to help us with PSR, and yet we seem to be very reluctant to set up these deals. We have a curse when it comes to directors of football that we can't seem to keep one at the club. We've had 2 now who've walked out of the club. So it's incredibly frustrating that we've had a mini transfer window open. We've then had the PSR transfer deadline come and go, and we have failed to take advantage, as it was put, of any clubs who might be in PSR trouble. We have come to July the 2nd now, and we are still yet to make a single first-team signing. We are still linked, as ever, with James Trafford as we continue to negotiate the most complex contract in the history of mankind. I just don't understand how a transfer can take this long. Surely you just sit at a table with a club and like, how much do you want? We want this. We're prepared to pay this. Right, let's hash it out. An hour later, surely you come to an agreement or you agree to walk away. It's just flashbacks of the Geordie nonsense all over again. And so after Newcastle were linked with 3 Premier League players and apparently put in 3 bids and had all 3 bids rejected because we are unwilling to meet the demands of the club that owns the players, so now we're starting to get linked with players in Europe, players on the continent. We've been linked with 3 different central defenders after news came out that Newcastle had cooled their interest in Geordie. And I think that's more the fact that Geordie would rather go to Liverpool than come to Newcastle, so Newcastle are not in the running for him anymore. But apparently now we're getting linked with European players, which is probably more our price range, because the players that come out of Europe tend to be a little bit more reasonable in price. You have to pay a premium for Premier League players, and we are just not in a position, thanks to our old enemy PSR, to be able to pay these premium prices. But apparently we still are keen on Elanga and have gone back with another bid. The reports are that another 50 million bid has been placed for Elanga. That's a improvement on the 40 plus 5 add-ons that we did last time. And okay, I mean, obviously Newcastle seem to really want him. Eddie's really keen on him, so hopefully this will be accepted and Eddie can get in who he wants. In the meantime, Aston Villa have come out as someone who are also interested in Elanga, and to be honest, if we'd lost Elanga to Aston Villa, I would not lose any sleep over it. It's not a transfer that I am super excited about because he's just too similar to Jacob Murphy, and I don't think he offers anything new. He's just another super fast pacey winger, and I think that this season we will be facing quite a lot of people playing a low block against us, and I don't think he's going to offer what we need to break down those low blocks. So let's see what happens. If he comes in, great. If he doesn't, then we move on to the next one. But we are also rumoured to have interest in Harvey Elliott from Liverpool, and this one is a bit more exciting for me. I think this is a much more exciting deal because he is a different player from Jacob Murphy. The rumour is that Liverpool are willing to listen to 40 million with a buyback clause or 50 million without the buyback clause. So I think, obviously, if they want a buyback clause, it's going to be something low and reasonable. If you were to come with 40 million, Liverpool want a 50, 55, 60, 65, around that kind of range. They're not going to let you put 100 million or 150 million buyback clause on. That being said, you just go with the 50 million and no buyback clause. And apparently we put in a 50 million bid for Elanga, so why don't we just put a 50 million bid in for Harvey Elliott and get it done? Liverpool have already said they'll accept that. This is probably one of the most frustrating transfer windows as a Newcastle fan, because last season was pretty frustrating. Last summer was very frustrating, but we knew that PSR was a problem because we had to sell 2 young players. This time, we've been told that we have money to spend, and yet we're still not spending any. But hopefully, soon the transfers will start to come in, and then everyone will feel a little bit better about it. There's still been no announcement about Callum Wilson or Ruddy leaving the club yet. Both of their contracts expired on June the 30th. But there has been no announcement that they have left the club yet. So, that's a very interesting one. Are Newcastle waiting for some transfers to come in and then put the news out that Ruddy and Callum Wilson have been extended alongside those transfer deals? Who knows? Who knows what's happening? If there's one thing the club is very good at, it is keeping stum and not communicating what they are doing with the fans. But anyway, let's keep our fingers crossed that something exciting is going to happen soon. Anyway, that's all I've got. Goodbye.